I think some clients are quite hesitant to talk about it. Unlike perhaps clients with conventional mortgages, they're talking to their neighbours, their friends, people at work. You know, I've got this rate, it's being renewed at this rate, but people don't seem to talk about it, equity release, in the same way.
Hello and welcome to Purely in Conversation, Later Life Lending with Pure Retirement. I'm delighted to introduce our guest today, Martyn Lewis from Martyn Lewis Equity Release. Martyn, a huge welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Jenny. Good to be here.
Great, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, and many thanks for the invite. I'm really pleased to do this with you.
No, great. We're so looking forward to having you. Let's kick off. Introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself and about your role as an equity release advisor.
Okay, so I probably came to equity release reasonably late. I only came into the business about 7 years ago. Prior to that, I've done most things in the financial world. I've been an underwriter for commercial and residential lending, mortgage and life, and I also spent 9 years at the regulator, the FCA. So came into equity release and basically have kind of worked my way through to where I am now, which is from March, independent on my own business, working with professionals to introduce cases for equity release clients.
And what do you find most rewarding about working directly with clients in later life lending?
I think the most rewarding thing for me is seeing how those clients respond when the problem is taken away. It could be a problem that they've been facing for many, many years. And to see how it lifts people when they can not think about that problem anymore and start to think about what they should be thinking about, which is enjoying the rest of their lives. So that for me is why I do it, if you like.
And when we look at building trust, how do you approach that with your clients in particular who might be a little bit nervous about equity release? What does that look like for you?
I think trust is a really big part of what I do. And clearly a lot of my work is coming from finance professionals. So there's already a financial relationship in the scheme of things. But what I tend to do is try and understand from people what they already know or think about this product, and whether they've thought about it in the past, whether they've decided not to do it and why. Just trying to mine down to find out what their feelings are about it. And then, of course, you can then start to apply the knowledge to the problem and see if it can be a solution. And I think another way that I engender trust with people is to point out right at the beginning that actually doing nothing is also an option. This is just another financial product. It's now a mainstream financial product that is going to be considered alongside everything else.
And what are some of the most common misconceptions that clients have? And furthermore, how do you overcome that as their advisor?
It's a really good question. I think a lot of people think about equity release and they think about the products that existed 20 plus years ago. So obviously to kind of bring them up to speed, I address that by explaining what was wrong with those products and talk about the great work that the council has done in driving the product changes amongst the product providers. I think a lot of clients do approach it in the right way, but some of them don't always really consider the amount they want. They don't always consider, for example, if it's building work, they don't always consider contingency, because if there's cost overruns, so I try and encourage people to step away from the situation and to kind of think more widely. I understand why clients think about the problem and don't really think beyond it. So my role is one of trying to basically encourage them to think about their lives without the problem anymore, because we're going to deal with that. So that future piece is what helps me build the advice.
How open do you find clients are the first time that you speak with them?
I think some clients are quite hesitant to talk about it. Unlike perhaps clients with conventional mortgages, they're talking to their neighbours, their friends, people at work. You know, I've got this rate, it's being renewed at this rate. But people don't seem to talk about it, equity release, in the same way. I think it's possibly perhaps because some clients think they see it as a form of failure if they're looking to equity release. But as I explained to them, it's the complete opposite, really, because you've earned the wealth and you have a choice, which some clients don't have the choice, perhaps. It's just that the wealth is not in the right format to use in the right way to sort out the issue or the problem and get the outcome that you seek. So I think when people realise that it's not a failure, they become more open to talk through it and to see how these products may help them going forward.
How do you tailor your advice to reflect both financial needs and also emotional considerations as well?
Again, it's all around potential vulnerabilities. Clearly a case or an inquiry comes through to me from a professional person or from the website, but it is all about finding out if there are vulnerabilities and what they are. This might not be the right time for a client to talk through some quite deep situations in their life. So I think it's just about speaking to people, getting them to understand what you're able to do. And the fact is that this may not be the right time. It might be, but they can't really move forward without knowing what this product is. So for me, to get to the nub of it all is to really just help them understand it first, and then they can decide if they want to apply it to their situation.
And thinking about the long-term impact of equity release, what's your process for helping clients to really understand that element of it?
I draw a lot of diagrams for people. I mean, the paperwork that comes with the process is quite good. It has all the forward projections, but I tend to draw diagrams for people to show, how maybe a small payment can really affect the amount of interest that builds up. So I really just want people to widen their thinking around it. I also use case studies with people to help show that house prices can increase over time and often do, and sometimes that can often occur to mitigate some of the interest that builds up. So it just gives them a wider sense of this product.
And what are the areas that you feel clients don't consider or perhaps ask you about when they are inquiring about a later life mortgage?
I think a lot of people struggle to find the right information to kind of get under the bonnet of it, if you like, because they don't always want to have an advisor in front of them or on the phone. They would quite like to think about it, maybe talk about it with their families. So things like drawdowns, for example, they know what the word exists. They don't always know what they are and when they should be considered. They don't always understand things like moving options and portability. So these are all words that in the industry we use them every day, but a lot of clients don't always know what that means. So I tend to take more care with those clients to say, well, if I use those words, I'll explain what it is.
How do you involve family members or beneficiaries as part of your advice journey?
So one of the things that I'm quite, an advocate of is advising or talking to clients, potential clients, up front about the value of having a discussion with their families and beneficiaries. Not that they can make any decisions for the clients, but often in meetings it adds to the dynamic of the meeting, because family and beneficiaries often ask questions that perhaps mum or dad wouldn't ask. Yeah. So for me, it kind of completes the circle a little bit, and just helps mum or dad to move their way through it and get the right outcome.
What tools or techniques help you explain complex products in a simple and reassuring way to your clients?
Again, I think it's about understanding first what a client's level of understanding is, because clearly to go into deep explanation, you really want to know the level of understanding that already exists. I think it's just that painting pictures and giving examples, and there are some great examples of case studies that you can apply to various situations and leave with people, because they can then maybe apply it to themselves and see how that can work. Other than that, I think it's about proceeding at the right speed with people. Everyone's able to proceed at different speeds. Clearly, to be able to break up your appointments, 2-3 appointments sometimes, really helps clients, I feel, to ingest the information and have the time to process it and ask questions back. Checking back is really important, that people have understood before you move on.
And as an advisor, how do you stay up to date with product changes and regulatory updates as well?
Well, I think the industry's changed, and is changing quite a lot. So to keep up to speed with all of that, to be honest, there's a lot of material that's published. There's a lot of data that's produced by various lenders, including Pure, the council, and some lenders obviously are particularly good at things like equity release for divorce. So reading that industry published material alongside perhaps discussing cases live with BDMs and with the legal profession really helps keep up to speed with where the thinking's going. As an ex-FCA employee, you'd be surprised to know I do read the FCA newsletters. I still get them. And I also read the Ombudsman news as well, because we've had Consumer Duty now starting to filter through into the way that we operate. That's how I do it.
And what advice would you give to advisors who are looking to enter the equity release market?
I'd say it's a great market. It's not like anything else. When I first started, I thought it was much like the conventional mortgage market. Very quickly, I learned that it's a very different dynamic. Client dynamics are very different. The needs base is very different. The compliance is very different. And, to make a success of it, I think just embrace everything and try and build a network of people around you that know more than you do at the start, because that's the best way of sharing, stories and ideas and what's the best way forward. I'd counsel any new advisor to the industry to do that, and maybe to not expect too much too soon, and to proceed at a pace that's the right pace for the client, because some clients can't listen at the speed that we always talk at. So I would just counsel them to maybe take a bit more time and think about outcomes before yourself.
As you know, we have the advisor marketing toolkit at Pure Retirement that I know you've used previously,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes.
I'm really interested to know, what have you used it for? What did you think? And how easy is it to help educate your clients as well?
Yeah, I did use it, especially when I've used it before before I'd moved to my current position as MD. But I use it I certainly used it for the website support, the kind of second set of eyes over the website plan, if you like. That was invaluable to me. The Pure helped me with that. I do use a lot of the case study material and the brochures, especially when I'm attending events. So that for me is just excellent support, because it's so well done that, you know, clients, it draws their eye to it, and that's really what I need to happen. So it's been really thank you for that.
And my final question, and it's become famous on the Purely in Conversation podcast. We ask this to all our guests, and the answers are always brilliant. But if you could take your younger self out for a coffee, what advice or reassurance would you give yourself?
My younger self, I'd probably just say, let's just keep going at it and keep learning. Never think you know it all. It's an old phrase, every day's a school day.
Yeah.
It is. But every day's a school day, and obviously that learning helps you, because that could be the next case that's coming down the line. So I think be open-minded, listen to clients, get them to talk through their thought process and what brought them here. I think that's a really important part of their journey, and any advisor needs to try and understand where those clients are before you're able to help them, and maybe have some kind of understanding that you might not be able to help everybody. This product is great, but it's not suitable in all cases. And obviously where it's not, you can make partnerships with people in those fields to help them. At the end of the day, it's about the outcome. And my younger self, I think, that's what I would suggest. Think about outcomes straight away.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure, Jane.
It's been wonderful to have you. Thank you for giving us so much information and insight. It's been fantastic. And thank you so much, Martyn.
Pleasure being here. Thanks very much.